Hi everyone, really enjoying having you along on the Grow Your Grocery series. So much fun to grow our vegetables together and save money on our food bill. But today it's time to have the talk, the watering talk. Have you ever overloved or underloved your vegetable seedlings by watering too much, fertilizing too much? Don't worry about it. Most people do that. So today I'm going to share with you the secret to getting the watering and fertilizing right for your vegetable seedlings. So let's head outside to the California sunshine. By now, many of you have probably gotten your seedlings started, and it's time to water them, but you gotta get that right. Because if you overwater, your plants will drown and die. If you underwater, they're gonna totally dry out and die as well. So the first secret to watering your seedlings is knowing when to water. Now, this can be just a little bit tricky because it's not the same for everyone. It really depends on a couple of different variables. The first variable it's going to depend on is where your seedlings are growing. If they're in a warm location or by a sunny window, they're going to dry out a lot faster. You'll have to water them a lot more often. On the other hand, if they're in a cooler location, they're not going to dry out as quickly and you'll have more time in between waterings. So number one variable is the location where they're growing. The second variable is the container in which they're growing. For example, if you're growing your seedlings in the 6-packs, the little cells are kind of small, so it might dry out quicker. But if you're growing seedlings in a larger container, these may not need watering quite as often. So you only want to water when they need it. So I know what you're wondering. How do I know when they need it? There's a couple of clues to look for that are super important, and this is one of the secrets. It's really important that you check on your seedlings daily to see if they need water and look for these two clues. So the first clue you look for is the color of the soil. Now let me show you these seedlings up here that do not need water. You see how the soil is a nice dark brown color? That indicates that there's plenty of water content in the soil here, and these seedlings do not need water. Now, in contrast to that, the onion seedlings right over here, see how the color of the soil is a light brown color? That indicates that the soil is starting to dry out, and within a day or so, your seedlings are going to need water. I like to let them dry out just a little bit to avoid fungus gnat issues, and we'll cover that in another video, but you definitely don't want to let them dry out completely or your plants will be stunted and dry. Now the second clue is the weight of the container that they're growing in. So these little tomato containers here, 6-packs, are a little bit heavier because the soil has more water content, so these don't need watered. And conversely, the little onion 6-pack is a little bit lighter, and you'll get the feel for it, you'll get it down, but it's lighter in weight, indicating that the soil is starting to dry out and there's not as much moisture content in the soil, and it's time to water in the next day or so. Now that you know secret number one, when to water your seedlings, you gotta know secret number two, and that's how to water. Now what a lot of people do, and I've made this mistake in my new days of gardening, is they water from the top and totally drown their plants like this. You don't want to do this. And the reason why is these are little tiny seedlings. And if you pour water over the top, you could dislodge the little seeds if your seeds haven't germinated yet, or disturb the roots of the tiny seedlings. And it's just not a very healthy way to water because water can splash, cause bacteria, cause issues on your plants. How you want to water is you want to bottom water your seedlings. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You really want to be gentle with your seedlings. So I'm just going to take this little nozzle off. And what I'm going to do is take one of the little seedling 6-packs out so I can bottom water. Now, bottom watering is a healthy, really efficient method to water your plants. And what it does is it allows the water to wick up from the bottom of the plants through the holes in your seedling containers, which makes for stronger roots. So I'm going to pour about 2 to 3 inches of water in the bottom of my tray here. So I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes until the top of the soil turns a dark brown color, which indicates that the water is soaking up and has a really good moisture content. Bottom watering has a lot more advantages than watering from the top. First off, you're not displacing the tiny seedlings as they grow when you water from the bottom. And then secondly, it allows the soil to absorb a lot more moisture, so you don't have to water near as often. It allows the plants to develop much stronger roots because they're going down towards the source of the water, and the roots get nice and strong. And by bottom watering, you're also not splashing water from the soil to the leaves. That can spread disease and encourage more fungus gnats, and nobody wants that. Now, while our seedlings are sitting in water, I'm going to give you a little fertilizing tip because you can fertilize at the same time you're watering. So you want to start fertilizing your seedlings once they start to get their first set of true leaves. Now, onions don't have true leaves, but I'll show you what cucumber true leaves look like. When seedlings first start to grow, they just have their little baby leaves. But when they grow a little bit more, they'll start to develop a leaf that actually looks like a cucumber leaf. So at this point, your seedlings are going to need a little bit of feeding to help them grow into nice, strong, healthy seedlings. So I like to fertilize at the same time I'm watering. It just keeps things a lot more efficient. So what I'm going to do is just add some fertilizer here to my tray. Now what I use is a plant cocktail of water-soluble fertilizers. Now that just means that it's fertilizer that will dissolve in water and be immediately available to the plants. So my favorite, I've used this for years, is Vermistera Vitality. This is made with worm castings. It's supercharged and it does beautifully for your plants. I add a couple of squirts to my seedling tray. And what this does is it really helps with root development. It's got a natural growth hormone, and you really want to go easy does it when you're fertilizing your plants. The slow and steady growth is what you want. So you fertilize about quarter to half strength of what it says on the bottle. So I just added some Vermistera worm castings to my plant tray. Next I'm going to add some Good Dirt plant food, and this is great because it's a little bit higher in nitrogen, which is great for the green leafy growth. I'll add a couple of pumps to my plant tray here. Then I'm just going to kind of move the plant tray around to mix around the fertilizer, and that'll soak up into the plants as the water absorbs into the soil. You fertilize your seedlings about once a week. Just do it during a regular watering session. Let them sit for about 10 minutes to absorb all the water and then pour out the excess. So I like to pour it off into a watering can or a pitcher so I can save it and use it for another plant. And you'll know when your plants have absorbed all the water they need when the top of the soil turns that dark brown color again, indicating that they're nice and moist. You definitely don't want to let your seed tray sit in water. So after you pour out the excess, if there's still a little bit in the bottom, a little trick to get it out is to use a turkey baster. Almost everyone has one of these in their kitchen. Just suck the water up, put it into your watering can until there's no more water left in the bottom of your tray. Now that you know the secrets of how and when to water your seedlings, I know you're going to get it right and grow a lot of veggies in your garden grocery store along with me. Now, if you do prefer to read, it's all written down for you in my book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. Everything we discussed today is in Chapter 3. So head to CaliKimGardenandHome.com, grab a spring garden seed collection, and jump into the Grow Your Groceries series with us. Get $5 off this week with the code FRESHVEGGIES. And I'm also throwing in a free squash seed collection, 5 varieties of squash with your purchase. So we're going to plant some squash in a few weeks. Now comment below, let me know how things are growing in your garden grocery store. Can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.